Hello and welcome. You've reached Never Not Here on your dial, and my name is Richard Miller. And I think I've been saying this the last few times we talked, that people are just dropping by. And wouldn't you know it, today's Valentine's Day, and we just had this idea that Valentine's Day is all about love. What is that all about? So please help me welcome Canela Michelle Myers. Hi, Canela.
Hi, Richard. This is just lovely. Talk about dropping in like this and speaking by email this morning, and then here we are. I just really felt this pull, to see if this could happen, because when we spend time and attention and our words on love, of course, that expands love, and I love that.
Sometimes I'm saying like this is a real community because we can just drop in on each other's front porch or, in the back kitchen and share a cup of tea and just talk. And it just happens that fast, too, is
when it wants to happen. Yeah,
right
here
on.
we are. Can just have a nice visit and in moments. Just amazing. I love the technology of today. It's just...
sometimes we were kind of rack our brains over love and say, well, is it really what we've always been saying it is? And then it might even happen that we really get a bigger opening to the love inside ourselves. And we might even want to say that I was confused before and that, there's a lot of confusion around love. But I was thinking that even the confusion is probably useful, in addition to, for some people, that confusion is, doesn't prove to be a confusion to them at that moment. And
that sounds confusing.
That sounds confusing, huh?
But yeah, there's so many ideas. I mean, obviously love, everybody has a pull to love, and there's all these ideas about what love is, and as if you can give it to somebody and somebody's going to give it to you. And really, when you look directly at it, what really is love? I mean, you can think about it and come up with answers, or you can remember different times that you've actually experienced love.
Actually, thinking and remembering actually brings a feeling with it. So then you can actually have a mini taste too, right? Just by thinking and remembering.
Remembering experiences of love, right? And then when you remember that, love comes in and you can feel it. You just remember, okay, I know what love is, and there isn't any way to describe it. All you can do is feel it. And I know in satsang one time, somebody said, well, what's your idea of love? You described love, Canela. And I said I didn't need to describe love. And he said, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, have you experienced love? And he said, yes. And I said, see, I don't need to describe it. It's an experience, and everybody knows what love is because it comes, whether there's a felt sense of the heart area opening and flourishing, or it feels like something so comfortable and cozy surrounding you, a contentedness. To me, it changes. It's different every single time. And yet I always know when love is here, when it's present. And I feel, I'm not absolutely positive because I don't know if everybody has experienced love, but I imagine they have. Otherwise, what would be the draw? How would they know to look for love or talk about love or fall in love, or all the ways that love itself sort of tantalizes us and invites us to open to itself, love itself.
So something about our talking about it, I suppose all our ideas about love are superimposed on the experience. And then it seems like, oh yeah, those are the ideas that are our interpretations of love is what's activating it. And so then, if anything, we want to point to less interpretation of love and just, as you started out in saying, I don't need to describe love.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could
invite ourselves. I mean, a person can simply just say, today I'm inviting deeper and more experiences of love, whatever that is. And love will find you. Love will come to touch you. It's allowing an opening in yourself that love can come in, welcoming love. And love will come.
Of course, maybe even that might be a kind of a twist, because love maybe doesn't come. Maybe
Well,
it's already here.
well, yeah,
That kind of thing, because if we're looking
but
for
it can always
something,
deepen. It can
yeah,
always deepen.
the
That's
awareness of it can deepen, right?
absolutely. Well, not just can it, it does. The awareness of it, um, even within the expression, say, when you're in a relating and um, love gets provoked open by another, right? If that's really what it is. When my son comes walking in the room, there's a flavor of something that opens in me. It's me that gets to experience love. I don't know about him or not, but he provokes that open in me. And for that, I'm thankful for his existence, and love. I mean, it's wonderful. It's that this can happen. I mean, it's really quite a miraculous part of being human, to feel love, to be touched open in the heart, but it includes everything.
So what could we ask about love? I mean, I guess we want to ask how can we be provoked open more, or I don't know. Why shouldn't it be easier?
Well, the part I feel, I'm not positive, but what gets in the way is ideas for people to try to get love, as if it's something to get, or that somebody should love me. Somebody, please love me. When love is already there, it's a matter of, are you willing to open to experiencing love? Excuse me, the cat is scratching on the post behind me there. That's how she gets me.
That's how she gets love, right?
That's right. She gets my attention and my caring, and she can feel it without me even touching her. So she provokes love open in me, and then she opens, and then I open, and love is happening, and it's being enjoyed together. I mean, that's really the possibility of relating with another. Yeah, is allowing space for love to provoke itself more and more open, more and more alive, and then the rest of the world changes. It's really, love begets love. So it is another form of inviting world peace. If you allow more and more love, you dare to allow yourself to really feel more and more love, then that supports everybody in the universe to also open to more love. Does that, how does that feel to you, Richard? Does love feel present?
Yes, I want to try it out. just really get a good feel.
Beautiful.
I guess there's a lot of basic parts of our culture that categorize people, because we do different things with different people. I mean, we have courts and judges and prisons, and we were willing to categorize people as not deserving of somehow they should be ostracized or not included, and whether that's a cause or an effect or neither. And I guess we really believe that we should turn off towards some certain people, that would be useful, because maybe as a punishment or as a teach them a lesson, or...
Well, I think that's definitely what even parents will do to get a child to do what they want him or her to do, is sort of meta out attention or love, and then close off when the child isn't doing what they want them to do. And so I feel that's where that comes from.
So that's kind of like a deep root in all of us, because if we grew up in that certain time when that was a prevalent belief, we all have that kind of built into us, that some people aren't deserving of our openness and of inclusiveness, that they're not contributing to society or trying to be destructive to society, and that somehow it would be better if they were cut out of the picture. And
which really cuts ourselves out.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know if that's possible. We're just saying that, but if we we uncover that behavior and belief, and say, well, can we really cut them out? Because even when they're in prison, they're not cut out of society. It's a wound.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's still cutting away from ourselves to exclude anybody, even from the parents to the child, to turn off love, turns off their own loving, their own well of love. It's the oddest thing. The very punishment actually punishes the punisher.
Right on. No, I just read that today. I think it was in an email. Somebody sent a quote and said, I forget who said that, resentment is a poison you drink, hoping that it'll kill your enemy.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's the same as shutting off or closing down, or any way that looks like I'm going to shut love off. I'm not going to love him because he won't do what I want, or she won't do what I want. Excuse me, as often happens in relationships or relatings, as I like to call them. When it's the person who's made this decision to close down, that is closing off to love. And the person will feel it in that moment that they attempt to exclude the other. It won't feel very good in them. And so the antidote can be, in the moment, if you can catch yourself doing that, or that this is happening, to just see what it's like to remain open to love. Let your heart be open, no matter what the other person is doing, and just see what happens. You don't even have to say anything. Just allow your body, your heart to be open, whatever that means to you, because each person will have their own way of opening their own heart. So opening your heart to whatever the situation is, whatever is actually occurring, and just see what happens. It can be quite something.
In a way, it's come to me sometimes that egoic movements or thought patterns do have a power, but mostly their power is to constrict or close or say no. And maybe if they just stop saying no, the openness is more of a natural state. And maybe it's true that the egoic thoughts and thought patterns don't have the power to say yes, because yes is kind of like the absence of those egoic or those mental patterns. And
Well,
so to
all of that.
coach that, is kind of difficult because it doesn't really, there's no way to compute it.
Well,
But
in the moment, though, the person themselves, with whatever idea might be present, they usually can feel whether something's open or closed, whether there's a part of them that is saying yes or saying no. This is where honesty comes in. And it's really up to that person themselves to be true to the truth. Am I closing down? And to see what opening up just would feel like, just to try it out.
I agree that they can notice. We can all
Yep,
notice.
yep. And try something different. And so it's what I'm saying is it's less about needing to know all the parameters to have a rule that you can fall on. It's except for opening instead of closing. I guess is the simplest way to invite a shift in that.
Yeah, and well, I don't know. In a way, we could say a few other things like just for that closing really doesn't damage who you're closing against. It damages me.
That's right. Yes.
So
Or
that's
it just excludes you. Yeah.
it's a misperception. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same in everything that attempting to, as you said earlier, the punishing of anybody to close away because for whatever reason, it doesn't work. So
I think we're all well intentioned, and that we want to do what's right and what will add to the situation.
I
And
agree.
we believe that sometimes we believe in punishment, I guess, and
Or go
we
along
believe
with it
that would
because
help. That some people have to know that they shouldn't do this, and that they have to know that sometimes pain is a good way for them to know it somehow. And
I don't know. I know that as a parent, again, the great experience of that these two beings chose to be born through me, part of that was looking at punishment and it never felt very good to me because it seemed like they already felt bad. Um, so I actually didn't punish for any apparent wrongdoing. I ended up more or less just supporting them to share how they felt. Um, and usually they felt their own sense of shame or, where they had done something wrong, that feeling of having done something wrong inside themselves, and then just coaching them to, again, access that feeling of right or wrong and to follow that which feels right. But unless they follow that which feels wrong sometimes, they won't really know how
know the
good it is.
difference, right?
Yeah, how good it is to follow the right thing.
Yeah, right. Of course, we don't
Yeah,
necessarily want to encourage shame either, and maybe want
yeah.
to say that even that is maybe not all that useful.
No, and it's more or less what it seemed in them. That actually naturally occurred. I didn't say anything. They were already understanding and knowing what had happened or their actions weren't the very best. And so they wanted to change it just from their own selves. I didn't need to punish them. It was already punishment enough in a way, just finding out that what happened wasn't maybe the best choice for them.
Maybe all those things are just so much in the culture and in the communal consciousness, like shame and so on, just is something that we can recognize and become aware of, that we're so much into reflection and imitation as a species of those that are around us. Mm-hmm. And that is probably how we're enculturated to the 90%, and not so much of just following behavior patterns or being trained by somebody. And that's a good awareness, too, to just notice that feelings come through, and that, like as you say, you never implanted a feeling of shame, but it may have been there.
Not on purpose, yeah. And yet I was raised Catholic, so
So it was there, too, huh?
on some level it could just be something that, like there's so much of myself that I came to realize that they picked up on things on all levels that I wasn't even aware of, as we all do. And so, yeah, on one hand, it's true. We have societal tendencies and ways that maybe aren't the very best for love, in supporting love and experiencing love. And it's only in finding that right way, what feels right or what feels most loving in the moment, that can support it all to heal. Even the learned shame, like you mentioned, and the ways that society kind of holds itself away from itself, excludes itself in so many different ways. But we can still live within this in love, by even opening to that, to accept that that's the way that it is. And a lot of it's about ignorance, and that's innocence. When people don't know that they're repeating something or following a habit, they're innocent. They don't know that that's what's occurring.
Well, maybe it's unconsciousness too.
Yes, ignorance and consciousness, same. Yeah. Yes.
And you said ignorance, but innocence might be something else.
Well, the person's innocent because they are ignorant of of knowing to look and follow what's right within themselves, no matter what everybody else around them says. Instead, they tend to follow what everybody else says they should do, follow the rules and regulations that are set out outside of themselves.
Right. These rules, in a way, are a little bit insidious, even if they're good rules or bad rules, because I was just thinking these last few days that actually when we say notice, it sounds like it's a job or something that we're supposed to be doing, but we're always noticing. We might just be noticing the rules or noticing how good we are at following the rules or kind of describing, well, why this guy doesn't deserve love, and saying it and giving this, repeating this litany of what a bad character that is. And, those are what we're noticing at the moment. And as long as we're, believing in all these rules, if they're either societal rules or our personal rules, they're preconceptions in any case. And then our noticing can fall on that. And then it's not really much of it left over to see that we are included, we are together, we are.
Yes. Yeah, becoming aware. Yeah. More and more aware of what we're up to.
Right. So just softening on our own personal litany of explanations is a way, is allowing a certain amount of noticing power to be unleashed, and to see the feelings and the empathies and the compassions that are naturally arising.
Especially towards ourselves. Like on Valentine's Day, there's so many kind of rules, whether we recognize that, about how it's supposed to look to make it a good Valentine's Day. That there ought to be flowers and dinner and a bottle of wine and some romantic place, and you're supposed to be extra loving, and what if you're not feeling particularly loving? What if you've got a flu virus going on?
Oh yeah, but I mean, you're probably noticing your explanation for your flu is just what I said, and there's not much noticing left over to feel it. Even in the flu, maybe you're more loving.
Yeah, well, it's more loving to actually find the truth instead of following the rules, is what I mean. Like, so instead of being attached to and going through all sorts of stress and tension to try to create the perfect Valentine scene with your sweetheart, to be honest, and that then is really loving, to say, I have this flu. As much as I would like to, perhaps follow the rules and have it look like a wonderful, beautiful thing happening, and a celebration of our love, I really feel how I feel. So admitting both sides, then loving. Yeah, seems to include the truth of what you're noticing.
I had a good time, because yeah, okay. So I was buying some flowers, and they were looking pretty tired, and I was really picking
Yeah,
and
okay.
choosing, trying to get the right ones. And the guy in line in front of me, he went for the roses, but anyhow, they were really tired. And I said, I guess we're late. And he says, yeah, but I mean, it must be the thought that counts or something. And I said, I got these white ones; they're not too bad. Maybe I can make something out of this. And then a couple of ladies. There were some ladies on both sides in other lines. They were kind of laughing at two guys, trying to figure it all out. And we were really having a lot of love, just between all of us there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So I mean, that's the sort of thing that even though Valentine's Day could provoke or invoke all sorts of rules and regulations for people, and it might be actually quite uncomfortable, it can also be, like you say, just going with what is. And if the roses are they are, you can just sweetly say, I guess I was behind on it, or whatever, and how sweet that would be, right? To have
Hmm.
these wonderful roses to remind you of just that sweetness in sharing. You look a little more serious now. And it's just wonderful to spend this time pointing to love, tossing love around, giving space to love like this.
I think
Support.
people are really well aware, what's happening in society is, in a way, very positive because we're just aware that cutting people and cutting races and cutting countries out, cutting off from different things. I think the society as a whole is really pretty aware that it's not working.
Seems to be starting to, yeah.
Yeah. And so then, I mean, we're kind of lucky here. I bet you are too in Vancouver that it's pretty diverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we're able to say hi to someone that we normally wouldn't say hi to or joke around and expect that maybe, they'll be civil back to us. Because
Yeah.
everybody's kind of aware of this, the fear, the old fear that he won't like me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Yesterday there was
I better not like him first.
a.
I've been
Oh,
just wondering, I've been thinking a lot of love and trying to keep a really big open space around Egypt and the ideas of Egypt and what they're talking about over there, and realizing it's not so simple, and that everybody's really involved in that moving forward. I mean, you can't blame anyone and you can't really praise anyone because if either side wanted violence, there would have been tons of violence. It doesn't depend on one. It depends on everybody in the formula.
Yep.
Everyone in the formula really has to open to the others and just say, I don't know, let this move forward. And the whole region is like shaking, shuddering, really.
Mm-hmm. And
And
affecting everything. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really a place to really open to and include in our own lives and just
Yeah.
be a
Right
part of
now,
our
that's
heart.
one.
Be a part of our heart. Yeah,
In love.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's, so yes to Egypt and the Egyptian people in finding their way to something that feels harmonious and more comfortable for them.
Yes to the whole Arab world, actually, and
Sure.
they're all
Let's.
scared about it, and there's a lot of shocking things have thoughts happening all around the area, and let Allah be present.
Yes. Yeah. Inshallah.
Thank you so much, Canela, for this great idea.
Thank you for your yes.
Let the
Yes.
tulips show for today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Richard.
Okay, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day from Chicago. Happy Valentine's Day from Vancouver, I'm sure.
Yes.
And drop by anytime. Thank you.
Great.